What comes to mind when you see this picture? A prison? A psychiatric hospital? Surprisingly, it's neither. This is actually my high school, a place where I spent 3 important years of my life. And at least half of all students in China study in a similar environment. In this video, I'm going to introduce the education system in my hometown. For many, the Chinese education system is often described as a nightmare. The intense pressure and the rigid structure lead to both mental and physical issues for students. CCTV Financial recently reported that the key health indicators of Chinese teenagers have been on a decline for over 20 years. It is a worrying trend. To give you an idea of the scale, China has about 293 million students. Of those, 32% of high school students suffer from extreme sleep deprivation. The myopia rate is an alarming 80%. Over 68% of teenagers already struggled with cervical spine problems, likely due to long hours of studying with poor posture. These numbers gives a picture of a system that pushes students to the limit, sometimes beyond them. The consequences are not just physical. The emotional toll is equally concerning, with mental health issues often left unaddressed in an environment that prioritizes grades over everything else. By 2022, according to the data from the 2022 China Health Statistics Yearbook, the suicide mortality rate among teenagers aged 15 to 24 years in my country in 2021 will be approximately 4.3 per 10,000 people. Why do we have these alarming numbers? To understand the root of the problem, let's first introduce the structure of the education system in China. Every student faces two crucial exams that shape their future. The first exam takes place after the junior high school, called high school entrance examination. This exam determines not only whether a student can enter high school, but also which high school they can get into. Recent policies have made this even more competitive. Only 50% of students are allowed to enter high school. The other 50%, they were sent to a technical school. For students who don't make it into high school, this often means being forgotten by society and sent to work in factories under poor conditions. 14 hours workdays are the norm. It's a lot of workers employed without contracts. This means no job security, no health insurance, and no social benefits. In a capitalism system with high living costs, especially rent, these workers have little left over after paying for basic needs. Many are trapped in these jobs for life, until an accident happens or younger, more recently graduated workers replace them. The chances of receiving even a meager pension are slim, and with no financial stability, they are excluded from the marriage market. No parents want this life for their kids. This is why families put everything into helping their children succeed academically and gain admission to high school. Because in China, failing the entrance exam can mean being condemned to a life of exploitation with no way out. The video I'm showing is not a war mobilization. This is actually a college entrance exam oath-taking meeting, which is about the second major challenge for high school students. Last year alone, 10.78 million students participated in this exam. Many parents start preparing their children for this test as early as elementary school, because the results determine which college, if any, a student can attend. For 3 years, many students dedicate themselves entirely to preparing for this single exam. It is a relentless and intense competition, where success requires an extraordinary level of focus. This is not an easy fight, and it is not even a fair fight. Why it is not fair? Because not all students face the same level of difficulty in the college entrance examination. While every student across China participates in the same exam, not everyone gets the same test paper. In more developed areas like Beijing, the exam questions tend to be easier. However, in less developed regions, like my hometown, the exam is significantly harder. To make matters worse, the admission score required to enter university vary by province, despite the exam having a total score of 750 points. For example, a student in Beijing only needs 434 points to get into a university, but in poor areas like my hometown, students need at least 539 points for the same opportunity. Thanks for watching. Hope this video gave you a better idea of why the Chinese education system can feel like a nightmare for students.